Hi everyone, hopefully you're able to see me. Hi everybody, Katie here live at the shelter. Today what I wanted to kind of go over with you guys is just review some of the different products and enrichment tools that are available that you can buy in stores. um, Most of the activities that we've done up until this point have all been using things that you have in your own home. And that was mainly because we were on lockdown. We knew that you needed activities that you would have access to products that were already in your home. But we wanted to make sure to let you know about some of the products that are available that you can purchase kind of at any pet store that is available. Um, I will say that some of these products are products that you can definitely get at independent pet stores. So I just want to put a plug in for those, not the big box stores, but things like Treats Unleashed or like For Muddy Paws. A lot of them are doing curbside, so be sure to check them out. So a couple of them are ones that we've talked about before. So you've got your slow feeders. I wanted to point out that they actually do come in different designs as well as different sizes. So this one, when you do purchase it, it will say on it how many cups will fit in here. And I believe this one will fit up to 4 cups. It's either 3 or 4. And this size is more suited for 2 or less. They also do make puppy-sized ones. So just know that you can get it a little bit smaller as well. Like we've talked about before, when it comes to the slow feeders, they're really good for just kind of having a dog take their time while they're eating. So these ones you can put just regular dog food in. You can put wet dog food in there. You can do some of the enrichment recipes that we've been talking about. You can also put some food in there and actually freeze it. I know it's going to start getting kind of warm out, so that can be a nice alternative for a dog as well. Again, you can use things that you have at home, like the egg cartons. We've been using those, or just a bowl of tennis balls. But again, wanted to hit up what these products are. The next item I want to review with you guys are just different kinds of puzzles that there are. So at the shelter, we do have a variety, so I just want to kind of show you 2 different ones. You've got kinds that are plastic. So for these ones, like you can adjust how easy or how difficult it is. And you just put the little food in there. And the dogs, as you gradually make it harder, they need to learn to like hit it with their nose in order to smell where it's at to be able to figure out how to get the food that's in there and underneath it. If you are doing a puzzle for the first time, I would recommend making it really easy for them because they need to know what this does, like what the goal of it is. Once you've done it really easy, that they kind of just have free access, you can slowly start to kind of close them a little bit so that they have to figure out to hit it with their nose. And then eventually you can do it completely closed. Another puzzle, they do come in plastic as well as this one's kind of like a corrugated wood kind of thing. This one, the dog actually, it's a little bit more challenging. And in this one, you put the little treats in there and these actually slide. So the dog has to learn to slide to figure out first which one has food in it. And then they have to be able to figure out how to move it to be able to get that treat or that food that's underneath. So these are 2 puzzle options. Another, it's sort of like a puzzle, but it's a little bit more interactive. They've got, the one that I have for Bowie is actually kind of like a wobbler. I think it's called a Bobble-Lot. After I get back home, I'll make sure to take a picture so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. But essentially, that particular one, you put it down, you put the food in it, and it kind of like wobbles around, and they have to be able to knock it over to get the food out of it. So I'll show you a couple of examples of those when I get home. This one is a different kind. The bottom comes out, and you put the dog food in there, and you just close it on up. And then the dog actually, scoot it down. The dog actually has to be able to roll it in order for the food to come out of the little holes that are there. So it's kind of like slowly rewarding them for the behavior that you want for them to be able to do. So these ones are really good. I would say if you're doing these ones, you can actually supplement it for their meal. So Bowie eats about 2 cups. No, I'm sorry. He eats about 1 cup at twice a day. So 1 cup can fit in here. So just know that if you do this, it kind of entertains them a little bit longer, makes them work for their food. And again, like we mentioned from day one, dogs prefer to actually work for that food. So these can generally be kind of good investments. Like any puzzle, it will take some time for your dog to figure out how it works. And you'll discover which kinds of toys your dog likes and which kinds they don't like. There's like this ball one. I'll show a picture of that one too, that Bowie has, that you put treats in it and he has to roll it, and it doesn't always give the food, and so Bowie doesn't really like that one, but he likes the bobble one because it kind of bounces back and it is kind of like more engaging for him. So you'll figure out which ones work for your pet. The next items I want to go over are just some kind of boredom buster type activities. So there are toys like these. Again, you can put treats in these. This one actually, you can put treats, but you can also put like peanut butter or cream cheese. This one is kind of like a rubber plastic kind of feel. You could probably put it in the freezer as well, and it would kind of make it a little bit more of a popsicle during the summer season, so that it kind of keeps them a little bit more entertained. These ones are not really meant to replace their meal. This is more just kind of getting them engaged, sort of a boredom buster. A couple other ones that are similar, we've got these two, and you actually can put treats between these jaws of life, basically, and then the dogs have to eat them out. The nice thing about these is that it actually cleans their teeth as well. So these can be really good for, especially like dogs that tend to want to gnaw on things. You don't want them to like chew it, to like bite it into pieces or anything, but as they're biting into it, it is kind of getting to their gums and cleaning their teeth off a little bit. So at the shelter, we often will do kind of feeding enrichment kind of activities, kind of what I just showed you. But we also will try to rotate in different kinds of toys. So one kind of toy that we occasionally rotate in are going to be balls. So things that are kind of bouncy. So it doesn't have to be a ball, but any kind of toy that when you kind of toss it, it's going to bounce around. Some dogs really like bouncing toys, some dogs don't, but just know that that's a type of different kind of activity because you don't know which way the ball is going to go, and oftentimes that can kind of keep a dog engaged. One kind of bouncy toy that is kind of unique are these ones that have these little spikes on them. Again, it's just a different texture, so it's not just your traditional tennis ball that's just flat and soft. This one's got different texture to it, so it kind of makes for a unique bouncy kind of toy. It kind of just adds like a layer to it. Another type of toy that we often will rotate into our shelter dogs. I try to rotate so that every day there's something a little different, but sometimes I'll switch them out week by week as well. So the other one is just your traditional rope toys. So as you can see, there's one that are kind of like thicker, and then you've got the thinner ones with the little phrase at the end. These are really good for tug of war with dogs. It's also just really kind of soothing for them to be able to, especially if you got a chewer, to have one that is really thick so that they can kind of chew it, toss it around. It's just, again, another type of texture, another activity that they could be doing. Another is kind of what we refer to as, let me see if I have another one. I don't. Just any kind of squeaky toy. So this one I would consider like a hard squeaky toy. These ones are going to be for those dogs that otherwise, if you have a softer, squeaky toy, they're going to tend to like shred it. So since I'm bringing up soft toys, soft toys are another one that we do routinely try to get the dogs to be engaged with, unless we have seen a history of a dog chewing it up and actually potentially like eating it and having issues in their stomach. We do still give dogs these, even if they're kind of destructive and defluff it. As long as they're not eating it, we're not as concerned. Destuffing it is really fun for dogs. I don't have an example here, but they actually make these really cool toys where it just looks like a regular toy like this, but you can actually have like stuffed animals within it. So an example, Bowie has one of these where it looks like an apple, but there's like a cut in it, and there's actually like a stuffed snake that he has to like dig around for and actually pull out. So it's tapping into that natural foraging and kind of that natural need to like pull stuff out or find and seek and destuff. So just know that if your dog is a destuffer, those toys can be fun for them because you can put stuff in and they have to pull it out. Obviously, you'll want to supervise your dogs at all times when you're doing those kinds of activities with them because you don't want them to ingest the squeaker or ingest the stuffing. So just know that soft toys, squeaky toys, hard toys are all ones that are great for our dogs that we try to rotate in. I had just talked about the stuffed toy that you can have stuffed toys within it. They also make things like this where you'll notice that there's like little holes in there, and they actually make them bigger as well. These toys can be really fun. You can do different things with them. So you can leave them like this where there's nothing in it and it's just like a regular ball. But you can also, this one actually is designed for this where it comes with a little treat. You put the treat in there and it basically engages the dog to get the toy and get the treat out. So it kind of, it's a toy for them because they're trying to like chase it around and it's bouncing, but also it's an intent because they have a purpose for why they're playing with it and what they're trying to do. If you have the bigger ones, you can put food in it as well, but I've also seen where you can take like strips of fabric and you could put the food in the fabric, twist it up and put the fabric in there. The dog has to actually figure out how to get the fabric out and then how to kind of root around to open the fabric in order to get the treat. So there's different layers, and as you discover what works for your dog, what it engages them, you can kind of adjust the toy. And a lot of times toys are more than just what you buy them for. You find other ways of kind of rejuvenating that toy. I have 3 more things I want to go over with you guys. The next are just your hard toys. For the shelter, these are primarily those nylon bones. So I just want to show you a couple of different kinds. We've got bendy bones. We've got bones that are shaped like logs. You've got these really fun ones that are kind of rounded, but then they have like different textures on them. Oftentimes this is really good for like young dogs that are chewing all the time because it's got the different textures to engage them. And then you've got your traditional bones. The thing I wanted to show you about the bones is on the package, it actually labels the sizes. So be aware that when you are purchasing these, that you're getting it for the right size of your dog. This is going based off of weight, but really what you're looking for is you want to make sure that the bone is not small enough that the dog's gonna get it all the way in their mouth and they're gonna swallow it and choke on it. So just make sure that you are reviewing to make sure that you're getting the right size. The next one is the licky mat. And I'm going to put a plug in here that the shelter loves these, especially for our new vet clinic. These will come very much in handy. So what you do with them, and this one has a picture of a cat on it, but you can use it for a dog. They have different textures. So some are kind of like this where It's just like a little kind of a rubberized spike. Some you'll notice have kind of like zigzags across it. Basically, how you use this is you kind of spread food on here. So you can spread peanut butter, cream cheese. You can use egg and spread that in there. You can use, right now, like raspberries or strawberries. You can kind of smush them in there. And essentially what it does is it's a food product. So the dog or the cat has to lick on this. It's stimulating them because of the different texture. So it's kind of stimulating the brain. But really what it does is it's a calming technique for dogs and cats. The licking is actually a self-soothing. So kind of like how babies will suck their thumbs, dogs and cats will lick. So this is really great for times when your pet is probably a little bit stressed out. I don't have a licky mat for Bowie, but I have a mat that's just flat. And when I actually clip his toenails, I will spread stuff on it because then he is in that licking motion, even though it's not cool like this with the different textures, but it's a licking motion so that he stays calm while I'm doing something that usually will stress him out. So these are really great. Again, you can just spread stuff on and they can lick it, or you can freeze it. Again, I'm going to plug that if you guys ever want to donate these, I can tell you that they will use them. All right, the last are just the Kongs. So Kongs do come in different different products. So you can have ones that have little bones where you can stuff the little sides. You've got these where they actually make those kind of like dentist sticks that you just shove right in the top. And then again, the dog is licking to try to get what it wants from there. And then you've got your traditional Kongs. These are what we've been doing the recipes with this whole time. I know Lisa kind of covered in her, one of hers, that they do come in different kinds. So there's different sizes. So I think it's kind of hard for you guys to tell, but at the top it tells you kind of what sizes they are. So we've got an extra large and a large. They just gradually get bigger. The openings are bigger down there. They do make them for small, petite, and they have ones that are specialized for extreme chewers. So the black ones are going to be for those dogs that really chomp down. And again, you don't want to not have them supervised when you give these, because even super chewers can still eventually wear these down. But just know that these are better for those dogs because they do last longer. But they also make small ones that have really kind of a much softer plastic or a much softer rubber, specifically for puppies. And those ones are generally like a light blue in color. So just know when you are looking for Kongs, you're going to want to determine what size that you want. Oh, it's over here. What size you want for your dog. And then again, if it's a puppy, you'll want to get the softer rubber. If it's just like your regular dog that's not, I mean, they're going to get into it, but they're not going to try to like chomp down on it and just bite through to get the food. You can use the normal red ones and then the black ones. With any of these, it is important again to be supervising, but make sure that you do clean these very well when you're done using any of the enrichment products, especially the ones that have food in it. I would suggest, see if I have an example, I would suggest investing, this one's kind of small, but I would suggest invest in kind of like cleaning products like this shape so that you can kind of get in the crevices. You can make sure to clean out Kongs. If you have a dishwasher, that will be helpful. Just make sure to kind of like pre-scrape out everything, maybe soak it, put it in your dishwasher for sanitation purposes. If you don't, make sure, if you don't have a dishwasher, make sure that you are soaking it and you're scraping out all the inside stuff. It's a little more of a hassle, but obviously you want to prevent your dog from getting sick on any leftover food that's maybe in it. The other thing is to routinely inspect your toys. If they've got holes, or if Kongs, sometimes we get them donated to us, And I'm actually a big stickler for inspecting them. If there are cracks in them, eventually, because it's rubber, when they start getting kind of hard, that means that they're old and they probably should be tossed out and you should invest in new ones. So routinely go through them, make sure that you're providing something that is safe for your dogs. But in the long run, it's all about having fun. Find what toys work for your dogs. Rotate those toys in and out so it's not routine. They don't always have the same toy. And then just find new ways to have fun with it. So I'd really love to see kind of pictures of some products that you guys actually use. You can either send me a picture in the comments below about what toys your dog or your puppies really enjoy, or products that you know that you find are very valuable. Bowie really likes the Fluff and Tuft. I just learned what they were called, the Fluff and Tuft a cardinal toy. So luckily we're getting a couple from the company so that I have a few replacements. So anyways, just please do share photos of kind of your enrichment toys, whether it just be one toy that you really want to showcase, or even spread them out on a table and take a picture of all of them. This is really a chance for you guys to share products that really work, or ones that you have invested in that you're like, it's not even worth it. Please share that. So I thank you guys for being on. If you have any questions or comments, please add them at the bottom of this video, and I appreciate your time. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.